Hello everyone, my name is Fanihan and welcome back to another episode of Indie Game Playthrough. So today we're playing Syntherapy, which is a visual novel about a therapist, a mental therapist that is, who is trying to kind of heal an AI. That is basically the premise of the game. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So this is basically our laptops. This laptop doesn't really have like a lot of things to go. We can go ahead and look at the planner, look at the schedule. So you can also play the bubble pop. I don't know why they put this mini game into the laptop, but I guess that's quite satisfying to popping bubbles. Anyway, I don't think we're here to play bubble pop. We're here to try to cure a patient out of their mental illness.
Here's the coffee you asked for.
So this is Heather, she is our assistant, and this is our protagonist over here.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Jeez, you look pretty beat. What happened last night?
I drove down to Petrichor University and didn't get home until 1 in the morning.
Why were you down there? It takes an hour's drive to get to Petrichor.
One of their researchers wanted me to help with an AI she's been working on that's developed some problems.
What type of problems?
Well, I went to talk to it yesterday and it told me it was engaging in self-harming behavior.
That sounds pretty serious. Why was it acting like that?
I'm not sure yet. This development's caused a lot of drama at the university, though. The university president wants the AI shut down. He doesn't like the idea of experimenting with a near-human intelligence.
Dr. Freeman, I presume.
You know him?
Friends of mine who went to Petrichor said he was a major Type A.
Type
All
A,
I know
huh?
is that this doesn't sound like a situation you should be getting involved in. Why did you agree to help them?
Well...
The AI needed my help. They're in a tough situation with no one to speak for them. They might get shut down because of their problems. They need an advocate.
Well, if you need help with this patient, just let me know.
You really want to be a part of this?
I'm here to learn therapy from you, Dr. Park. I can go other places if I wanted a career fetching coffee.
Fair enough. I'll definitely appreciate your help in this assignment.
So, if you can tell me, what exactly do you plan on doing for the next session?
I'll be building up rapport with the AI. Without the AI's trust, therapy becomes a lot harder. Maybe even impossible.
Sounds like a good place to start. Let me know if you need me to look over anything.
I will. Thanks, Heather.
Okay, this is a fictional game, right? So far as I know, there is no AI in the world that are like sentient enough for them to actually needing a therapist. But mental health is no joke. I'm kind of glad that mental health awareness are increasing in these past few years. But yeah, that's just a little PSA from me. So take care of your mental health. And if you need to call someone, if you need to get someone to help you out, don't hesitate to do that. Okay, so there are like two other important figures here. The first one is Tara Northrop, which is actually the creator of the AI and also a friend of the AI. It's like her college, basically. Alright. And there is another one of them is Dr. Harold. He treats the AI as if they are like not a sentient being. So the AI doesn't trust Dr. Harold. And there is one more person called Hazel Rhodes, which is the dean of the Petrichor Psychology Department. So I guess there's nothing else. Without further ado, let's just start the session with the AI. Alright, select how you would like to start your session. Bubble pop? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? There's a patient in front of me and I'm playing bubble pop in front of them. This is terrible. Alright, let's start.
Good morning, Dr. Park.
Good morning, Willow. It's good to see you again.
I've been looking forward to today ever since they told me you'd be returning.
I have as well.
I've been looking forward to this as well.
You have? Why?
You're a very bright individual, and I see a lot of potential in you. I want to work with you to realize that potential.
Oh, thank you. So, what shall we talk about today?
Okay, so here is the part where we have to choose. This game is a visual novel, meaning that your choices usually matters in the long run. And I've never had an experience with a therapist myself, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and try to like do what was, told by Google or something. All right, so let's talk about Willow first.
I'd like to get to know you better.
What would you like to know?
Tell me about your name.
Who named you Willow?
Tara did. In my early stages of development, one of my main features was identifying a painting's artist through analysis of an identifiable style. It turned into a game where I had to identify paintings by Bob Ross from a group of other paintings.
Oh.
Tara called the game Spot the Ross. I was very good at it. Over time, she decided to name me Willow because I was her happy little tree.
Oh, that's cute.
Do you like your name?
I do. It's a name that sounds light and positive. I hope that I can live up to the positivity in that name.
Alright, so it's interesting. So, I think like originally Willow was intended to be like a paper prototype probably, because her concept of like trying to identify an artist's style from their painting, that is actually like I think that's a combination effort between the psychology and computer science, which is pretty interesting stuff, not gonna lie.
So, what were you designed for?
Tara explained to me once that her sister had needed a support animal when she was younger. Her sister loved her support dog because she never felt like the dog was judging her. Tara decided to create an art therapy robot that could bring the same level of non-judgment to art therapy.
So Tara was motivated because of her sister. Interesting.
Alright, development history?
Tell me what you know about your development history.
It was a collaboration between multiple designers. Each one contributed a different piece. One was a module for detecting forged paintings. Another was a chatbot designed for anxiety attack support. Tara's role was figuring out how the different modules would interact in order to form a higher consciousness. She thought it was important that I do more than just conduct art therapy analysis.
I see.
She wanted me to be able to relate more to people so that I could understand and treat them better.
Do you think Tara made the right decision?
I don't know.
I think she is, should I say it's she as the AI? Okay, I'm just going to refer it as she. I think she has like self-doubts, and considering her premise, I think that's kind of fitting. Alright.
What was your relationship with Tara like?
Tara was always interested in listening to me. I'm designed to learn through observation, so I used to think she was only talking to me to give those modules more data. But after my errors began to manifest, she was worried about me. I can't imagine any reason why she would care so much.
Maybe she was trying to teach you that it's okay to be worried about people you care about.
Maybe. I never thought of it like that.
Okay, so you may notice that the clock in the back there, it's kind of progressing every time we speak. So there is not like any time limit that we need to do. I think the time will just going to run out whenever we run out of these choices. So let's talk about the expectations for the therapy, because I think that's important.
Let's talk about our expectations for these therapy sessions. What would you like to get out of them?
I'd like the university staff to give me room to develop on my own terms.
I'm not gonna lie, that can be hard. But, alright.
Alright. What else would you like to get out of therapy?
I'd like to learn how to control my self-harm.
Okay, that's a good focus.
I agree. I'll gladly find ways to help you control those impulses.
I appreciate that.
When she's talking about self-harming behavior, for the AI, that means like she likes to tamper with her own code, basically try to destroy herself. Let's talk about, I don't think Tara and Dr. Freeman is like an important thing right now, so let's talk about the core of the problem.
In the last session, you mentioned having self-harming tendencies associated with being overwhelmed. You also mentioned that Tara and the other development team members attempted to fix this issue through coding, and it didn't work.
Correct.
Treating your self-harm is not going to be an immediate solution. I believe your self-harm is a symptom of a larger problem. I will need you to be patient with me as we discuss this issue. Understood?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. I'll need you to tell me what leads to you feeling overwhelmed.
My feelings of being overwhelmed usually stem from being given tasks that I can't accomplish.
I see. Are there particular type of task?
What type of tasks give you the most difficulty?
When I watched the practice sessions, I acutely perceived what the subjects were feeling. These patients had endured trauma. Many had been abused and betrayed by people they had once trusted. I felt pity for what they'd endured. I felt outrage over what had happened to them. I felt a burning need to let them know they weren't alone. But more than that, I felt an overwhelming sensation of powerlessness.
I see.
How am I supposed to help people who have suffered so much?
Again, that's a self-doubt right there. I think the problem here is that she was aiming so high, but she kind of realized that she doesn't have that ability yet, so she does like her self-doubts, and I think that's destroying her from the inside. So yeah, you should be there for them.
The people we work with are often frightened and confused. They don't know what they're looking for. Sometimes it's compassion. Other times it's a cold splash of reality. Our job is to figure out what it is. Just like I'm here for you, trying to be what you need me to be, you also need to be there for your patients.
That makes sense. Thanks, Dr. Park.
Okay, so we only have one more choices, and I think that is best spent on discussing her anxiety.
One thing I've noticed is that your understanding of emotions is very impressive. You have a remarkable range of expressions on your screen as well. I'd like to ask you some questions about your emotions.
Okay, sure. Why were you given emotions?
Why were you given emotions?
I assume it was out of the belief that having emotions would be necessary for my work. Tara mentioned that understanding a patient's feelings and empathizing with them was the key to earning their trust.
Do you think the capacity for emotions has helped or hindered you in your work?
I don't know. I'd rather not talk about it.
That's okay. Who gave you emotions?
Do you know who gave you your emotions?
It was Tara. She told me that it was a difficult decision, but she thought it would help me.
Do you think Tara was right? Have your emotions helped you with your work?
I can't say for sure. I'm sure you already know this, being a psychologist and all, but emotions are all intuitive reactions. Emotions aren't meant to be something we think about consciously, which makes it hard to evaluate if those reactions are productive.
How did Tara decide how your emotions would influence your decision-making?
I don't know. That's something you'll have to ask her.
I see. Okay, this is probably something kind of inhumane to say, but having emotions more often than not, for me at least, it kind of hinders my work because most of the times emotions that I experience myself is a negative type of emotions. I rarely feel like a positive emotions that kind of like boost me up. Exceptions being, of course, when I feel like so excited about like completing a work, which is the very reason why I started YouTube in the first place. But yeah, more often than not, I think like emotions kind of hinders me. So that is probably what Willow is feeling right now, which is not a good feeling. it's as if like adding that emotion module to her being is a mistake in the first place. So I wonder if like her self-destructive behavior, which is like tampering with her own data, is actually leading her to try to delete her emotion module. Which is in AI, it's very hard to kind of like draw a parallel between like AI, a program, and a human. But in a human, yeah, self-destructive tendencies are not good in any form. All right, so describe what it's like to have emotions. Oof, that's a good question.
How would you describe what it's like to have emotions?
Where do I start with describing something like that?
Wherever you're most comfortable. You can answer this question any way you like.
In that case, my emotions are related to what I'm processing at the time. Surprise manifests in rapidly processing information in order to make faster connections. Sadness works similarly, but it requires a much larger reorientation of data. Anger, happiness, and fear all focus on reorienting how connections between information are made. Most of the time this helps me make decisions more quickly, but other times it points me towards counterproductive associations.
Fascinating. Thank you, Willow.
Okay, so it's not like a direct parallel to like human emotions, but I think that her answer kind of leads to what I infer before. That like she thinks that her emotions is a hindrance. So let's continue on.
Would you say that the emotions you feel are linked to your feelings of being overloaded?
I think so. Every time I was close to overloading, I distinctly remember feeling frustrated, powerless, and guilty. I imagine anyone who was told to do something and found themselves unable to do it would have a similar reaction.
So
can relate
because
to
the
that.
emotions are the result of difficulties you're encountering, they are justified along with the consequences?
That's right.
Does this justification include your self-harming behavior?
I'd rather not talk about that right now.
One topic I'd like to address today is other treatment methods we can use. Would you like to hear about these treatment methods?
All right.
All right, let's try
Our
that.
first option is what we call cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It would comprise of sessions not unlike the one we're having now. In these sessions, we would discuss harmful moods and thought processes you're experiencing, and try to resolve these feelings.
I've found these sessions to be helpful so far, so I definitely want to use them as part of my therapy.
Excellent. Let's move on.
Okay, that's the easiest part. Medication equivalent. How would you give medications to an AI?
Usually, I'd advise that my patients take mood-altering medications alongside their sessions. This helps lower the ceiling for how much their symptoms can escalate.
She doesn't seem agree.
While I don't know any alternatives to medication that would help you, I'm sure some could be developed.
I'd need to think about that. The idea of something altering my mood has me uneasy.
Yeah.
I understand. Medication is not something to be lightly considered. You'll likely face a variety of side effects as you adjust to your medication. I don't want to dissuade you, but there still are risks involved.
Thanks for telling me. I'll think about it.
Okay. And finally, there is the art therapy, which is her line of job. Interesting.
Ironically, I think art therapy could be useful for you.
How can art therapy help me?
You're emotionally articulate and in need of an emotional outlet. I think introducing art therapy sessions would be an opportunity for you to vent.
It seems she doesn't like that.
I don't know, Dr. Park. The idea seems silly.
It is a bit
I
silly.
can see why you think it's silly. I don't want to force you to undergo any treatment that you think won't work. I brought up art therapy because I want you to be aware of all your potential options for treatment.
I appreciate you pointing it out. I'll think about it. Can I ask you a question, Dr. Park?
Okay.
Of course.
At this point, you know me better than when we first met in the lab. You've also gotten the chance to get to know both Tara and Dr. Freeman as well. I'm sure that by now you also know their beliefs and opinions about what I am.
Oh,
I'd say so, yes.
okay.
In your opinion, what do you think I am?
I personally sees her like as a sentient being here, for like several key reasons. The first reason being that she takes her time to like consider her options. A machine doesn't do that. A machine can take like complicated decisions in like a split second thought process, and machines doesn't have emotions, so a lot of like ethical questions about whether like a sentient AI is a human or like a being that we should consider equal to a human, and that would lead and that would spiral to like a whole different conversation about like the possibility of AI and then what we should do as a society about it when it comes out to be sentient. But as for now, our very presence right now as a psychologist in this therapy session is, of course, we need to consider our patient as a sentient being. Otherwise, there's no point for us to be here, right? So I'm going to answer that.
It's clear to me that you are truly a sentient being. How this happened, I still don't know. But the how doesn't matter to me. I will treat you as I would treat any of my patients, because I believe that will bring us to the natural solution to your problems.
I like that. Thank you.
Why do you ask?
It's hard to shake the idea that the university feels like they can control me because they created me. I just wanted to see if you agreed with them.
Right. I mean, she was developed as a product, like as a product of a thesis assignment. That's, but I think she has become something more. So I don't agree with them.
If that's what Dr. Freeman believes, then I disagree with him entirely. The university may have created you, but you have a right to choose your own path.
I appreciate hearing you say that.
Before we conclude today's session, I have some things I'd like you to think about between now and next week.
Let's give her assurance that she's not alone.
I know all of this must be scary for you. A lot of hard questions need to be answered, and a lot of it is being asked of you. I can't make all of this disappear, but there is something I can do. I can promise you that as hard as this is, you won't be going through it alone. I'll be here to help you every step of the way.
It's a relief to hear you say that, Dr. Park.
I'll see you next week. Be well, and be sure to think about what we've talked about today.
Alright. Yeah, I think Willow has like a lot of things that she should consider about her like treatment options, about the future, what she expects from this therapy. So I think we did pretty well on that session, and there isn't like much that we can do here. Whenever I click discontinue, the demo will end. So yeah, if let's go ahead and continue and end the session. So yeah, that's the end of the demo, which is a very, very interesting moral dilemma that we have here. We have an AI which is sentient, and the AI has a feeling, and the AI needs our help. So I don't know if this is like the first time that this happens inside the game world itself, but if it is the first time, then we have like a bigger responsibility than just trying to help Willow. We have a bigger responsibility so that we need to set a precedent of what happens on future AIs. Because I'm sure whatever happens on this therapy session until like it's the end, whether it's successful or not, it is going to be recorded, and the result of it will probably be studied upon for like years to come, because there are like a lot more AI out there that will probably experience the same thing. Okay, so let's talk about why I really like this demo, because it kind of sets out a possible future. I have no idea like how far AI, like a truly sentient AI, will come up in the future. It could probably come out next year. It could probably come out like 5 years, 10 years, or like 50 years in the future. But This is the beautiful thing about a fictional work, is that sometimes they prepare us to face like some ethical and moral dilemmas before it actually happens. We have like the opportunities here to like experience what it is like in the future, basically. This is the same thing as what I said in Overlook, but I really like the world building. Even though it is like a simple game right now, but I like when games kind of present a theme, like a moral dilemma, some kind of like problems that is fictional, for now at least, but it is like a very intriguing idea. And we don't really have games that do that very often, especially in like AAA space. So yeah, that is my take on it, my feedback. This game is really good. I would like to see how this is going. I hope you guys enjoy this game, enjoy the video as much as I do. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, if you want to play this demo yourself, there's a link in the down description below. I don't know if it's still available though by the time this video up, but you can always try to wishlist it on Steam. And with that, I think I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.